Hello and welcome, Reds, and welcome to Premier League Rivals as well. My Premier League predictions, and before we get straight into it, just a bit of fun. And if you want a good laugh, because it was absolutely shocking predictions for me from last year, go and check out last year's. I think you only got one or two teams right, and I fully anticipate something similar to very much follow with this season's predictions. But any rival fans new to the channel, if you want to, we do a lot of Premier League watch alongs this coming season as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Obviously, we are a Liverpool channel, but very Premier League friendly as well. Going to be a lot of Premier League panel shows as well for this new upcoming season. If there's any rivals, let us know your thoughts and opinions on just your general thoughts as well in the comments. If you are watching on the repeat, do get your 1 to 20 in the Premier League prediction. But if you are live, we're going to be going alphabetical ordered anyway for the Premier League. We'll start with obviously Arsenal and then we'll work our way down anyway. And at the end of it, we will have a little look and analyse. And obviously, we'll go for our top goal scorer as well, top assister, player of the season, and probably player that is you anticipate to probably underperform in terms of going into this Premier League campaign as well. But let's get to everyone's comments as well before we get straight into it. Everyone joining in the live as well. Big up there, Yufraj. Massive thank you for tuning in, mate. Yufraj getting his top four prediction in already. He's got Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United. That is probably a lot of people's top four, mate. Not going to spoil mine anyway. And top goal scorer for your Fred will be Haaland, Salah, and Kane. But if he goes, it will be Saka or Martinelli in third place. Fingers crossed, mate. Tell you what, it'll be a good season. Liverpool need goals, as we know. My signing of the summer will be McAllister. We're signing of the summer is Mount. Yeah, we'll get to that. It's going to be interesting how Ten Hag does very much utilise Mason Mount, I think, in pre-season. A couple of the starting 11s I had a little look at. Looks like he's utilising him in the sixth role. If I'm wrong, apologies, Manchester United fans. But if he is going to be playing in that double pivot in a 4-2-3-1, Ten Hag, as we know, technical manager at Ajax, he's probably used to playing players in different positions. And Mason Mount, he's got a lot of qualities, but especially he improves his defensive qualities as well. We already know when he is playing in tip-top form, Mason Mount, he's a tremendous attacking player. You know me, I am on the train of Mason Mount. I think he'll do well for United if he's got the likes of an informed Casemiro alongside the more other players as well. So, but yeah, we'll get to that as well. Apologies if Raj, there's going to be a solo show, but it's a solo show, but it is a lot of interaction with the chat, mate. So you're more or less in the show, all is anyway. But yeah, big up there. All right, the firm. All right, Tom. Oh, all right, yeah, behave, Tom. If you're new around the channel, he's a massive Everton fan, as you can tell. More like the Championship, lad. Big up there, Henry. How are we? Panov, how are we, matey? And Howard Webb's key is key for Manchester United, of course, he is. Liz, how are we? How are we? Doug, technically, Superman's fist. Oh, yeah. Apologies, that. There we go. Big up there, Doug, as well. Right, we'll get straight into it anyway. As I said, chat, it's only going to be a quick show. As I said, don't want to dwell too long on it. And these are probably, especially rival fans, probably massively disagree. And you might be a bit surprised where I've placed Liverpool, but I'm being realistic off the conversations we've had this season anyway. We'll get straight into it in terms of having a little look at the Premier League table from last year. As we know, Premier League champions were Manchester City by an absolute, I was going to say by a canter really, but it was by 5 points anyway. But obviously the three relegated teams, and mainly we have a quick, if I can zoom in on that one as well. The bottom of the Premier League was extremely exciting for a lot of neutrals anyway. Everton surviving on the last day of the season. And obviously Forest picking up a couple of big valuable points come what the end of the season. And especially Bournemouth as well. A team that probably a lot of people did have to go down last year. Surviving. O'Neill doing a tremendous job, showing the good faith obviously in him, but I think obviously have Bournemouth sacked O'Neill? They haven't they, chat? Apologies, but I'm pretty sure they've sacked him anyway. So, well, we'll get straight into it in terms of the Premier League table anyway. You know what? No, we'll go from 20th, working our way up. I was going to go alphabetically, but yeah, we'll go from what I've got here. For 20th, just let me get the notes that I've got up anyway in terms of incomings and outgoings from this team. Wait 1 second there, chat. It is. Should be down there. Where's my notes? There we go. So for 20th, chat, get your 20th in. Put your number 20 dot, and then obviously the team that you want to be putting in. But for this one, for me, I'm going to go with Sheffield United in 20th position for me. You look at, obviously, when they did come into the Premier League a couple of years ago, obviously, the first season, they very much surprised a lot of the Premier League teams. I think they finished quite high up anyway, considering especially a lot of people's prediction that year to go down, and they survived. And then obviously got relegated the year following that as well. It's difficult. It's extremely difficult for these new teams that come into the Premier League unless you have a strong foundation, or another team that I'll be speaking about in a little second as well that are in the relegation zone, but I think will bounce back. But it's about, if you are in this bottom three and you're wanting to come back, look at what Norwich done. If you're a Norwich fan, you probably like a bit more stability in terms of when they've been in the Premier League and make a fair right go of it. Look at Brighton since they've come in. Crystal Palace come back in as well. Burnley in the past. Obviously, Burnley are back this season, which is great. But yeah, hopefully be getting Dan on the channel very soon as well. Big up, mates. Made up to see Burnley in the Prem. But yeah, Sheffield obviously losing their probably star player in terms of players that they've let go. Obviously, Billy Sharp has been released. Jack O'Connell obviously retired as well. Dylan Wharton, he's left as well. Oliver Albaster. Theo Williams went to Fleetwood. Zach Bate went to Barnet. So obviously the big main one was the lad that has gone to, I think it was Marseille, and Dyer, or completely butchered his name anyway. But he was, by all accounts, Sheffield United's best player last season, defensive midfielder anyway. If he would have stayed, I wouldn't have said he would have kept him in the Premier League, but he would have certainly gone a long way to very much keeping them in the Premier League, really, in all honesty. And I think you know me with pronunciations. So they're my 20th team anyway. And when you look at Sheffield's, quickly touching on the players that they brought in, Austin Trusty, obviously from Arsenal for £5 million, a young lad anyway. Yasser Larouci, an ex-Liverpool left back anyway. He's just joined from Troyes on loan. Be interesting to see from a Liverpool perspective whether Liverpool's scouting were right to very much send him on loan. I'm made up to see the young lad back in the Prem on loan. Benny Traore, BK Hacken, obviously for an undisclosed fee. He's an attacker as well. So it's interesting. There's still, as of recording this video, chat, there's 3 weeks left to go in the Premier League. So there's a lot of work to do still for a lot of clubs. And a lot of these positions might potentially change as well. For Carl's gone with Luton as well. Doug has went with 20th for Luton as well. Panov's gone with Luton for 20th as well. Big up there, Russ. Big up, Russ. Get your predictions in, lads. So we are on currently 20th, chat. But big up there. Brewster as well. Is Carl, is he still there? I have to check on the... I think he's still at the club. But yet again, another player that is with injuries and all that. It's still mad that Liverpool, what did we get, chat? Was it £30 million at that time, or 20 something plus? So still a lot of money. But that was my 20th team. Another team, as I was saying before, in terms of getting that bit more longevity, in terms of being consistent in the Premier League. Chat's already alluded to the team coming in, and I've got them finishing Luton 19th. It's going to be extremely difficult. When I've had a little look at some of the players that did come in anyway. But in terms of building strong when they've come into the Premier League, a lot of Luton's players for this season, they're not Premier League household names, but what they are is probably high-tier Championship players or of an ilk, really, that if Luton do go down, they are building for Championship the year after, if you get me. So I think they will bounce back, Luton, if they keep that right core of the squad. And obviously with a couple of new additions as well. Quickly, bloody hell, I'm just looking at bloody hell, chat. I'm just looking at the notes I've made with Wolves, all their outgoings. I'll get to them very soon, as you know. But in terms of Luton, in terms of incomings and outgoings anyway, the football club, I've got them finishing 19th, chat. Where's my notes? I've made that many bloody notes already, chat. There we go. So in terms of Luton's incomings, you look at a player like Chong, from Birmingham City for 4 million. Obviously, he used to be a Manchester United youngster anyway. He's bounced around the Championship for a couple of seasons now, but the Dutch lads, young lads, he's a left midfielder, very capable, very two-footed. I think he'll be a great addition. I think he'll come to the Premier League and be one of probably the main figureheads for this Luton side. Might be a bit difficult for him, in all honesty, to really get his footing in the Premier League, but you'd anticipate with his upbringing in terms of the Manchester United Academy as well, you would anticipate to not to be out of his depth, but to help Luton in certain aspects as well. And then Asa Kabori, obviously on loan from Manchester City, another young player. We've seen with City in the past, especially last season, there was a couple of players on loan. You look at Burnley as well, a couple of them, Man City loanees at Burnley, and a whole host of Premier League and Championship teams as well, especially the Championship teams that done extremely well. So in terms of Mads Anderson as well from Barnsley, very good attacker anyway in terms of what he can give to Luton. But Ryan Gills from Wolves, undisclosed fee as well. Aston Villa, the main lad, Marvelous Nakamba. Obviously, it's great to see him back at the football club. I think we all watched that Championship playoff final, and he was tremendous. He is, obviously, I'd say he's a high-tier Championship player. Obviously, and he's allowed them to very much flourish and get back into the Premier League. So it's absolutely marvellous that he's been playing for Luton anyway. Everyone's made that joke and I was probably dead. But Rotherham, in terms of the new a free transfer from Rotherham as well, Ogbeni, he's going on a free. So not a whole host of big names for Luton in all honesty, but I'm hoping, I'd love nothing more. I think the one aspect that I'd love to see come away from this new coming season is if Luton did stay in the Premier League anyway. This one is a team that you might be a bit surprised, but the way they've been moving, especially today, I don't know if it's as a recording this, Lopetegui looks like he's potentially leaving the football club. And bloody hell, I don't blame the fella anyway. But we'll get to chats. But Carl's gone 18th place. Massive thank you for the super chat there, Carl. You absolute legend. Really do appreciate it, mate. But Carl's gone with Crystal. Carl, add context to that, lad. It'd be interesting to see why do you anticipate Crystal Palace to finish 18th anyway? At least say if you can keep hold of him. Obviously, he's been linked with Manchester City, and I think there was another Premier League team he's been linked with as well over the last couple of weeks. But obviously, the loss of Zaha potentially, Carl, is it, mate? So, yeah, Lopetegui, is he officially gone now, Doug? So that's a big, very, very big departure. Yeah, and you don't really blame him anyway. Joined from Blackburn too, mate, from Luton Town. So good attacking player. Panov's gone with the Ev in 18. Doug's went with Wolves in 18. Liz has gone with Wolves. No Zaha and no players signed as well. Big up there, Cal. I think Palace are a tremendous club. I love the way they function as well. But we'll get to them, Carl, anyway. But I think with Woy, it's Woy's basically Palpatine, isn't he? Like, you think he's out, like you think he's going to retire, but he's back in the dugout, and he continues to surprise all of us, really, even neutral fans going bloody hell. But for me, with Wolves, sorry there, chat, I get me bloody notes up. You look at there's literally, I'm looking at about 20 players that have been released from Wolves. The notable ones: Ruben Neves to Al Hilal for 47 million. Raul Jimenez has gone to Fulham for 5.5 million. Nathan Collins, was a big player for them, the centre half. He went to Brentford for 23 million. I think that's a tremendous deal, in all honesty, from Brentford. They do extremely well. Connor Cody, gone to Leicester for 7.5 million as well. And you look at just those four players, what's that? Like 80 million pounds that they've recouped off those four players alone. I don't know whether if there's any Wolves fans watching or if anyone knows the predicament currently Wolves financially do tend, but I think I do extremely worry for them. In terms of other players, any main ones, João Moutinho was released as well. Look, there's been that many. Jan Hoover, he's went on loan at Stoke anyway. Adama Traore's left as well. Bloody hell, that many names that I've left. Ryan Gills to Luton. So, yeah, I'm probably missing one or two players as well. So, it's for me, Wolves, they don't score enough goals. They do not. I know Raul Jimenez probably won't be a big miss, but in terms of the players that we've already just went through there, they have lost quite a lot, fair chunk of their team. And you can understand why Lopetegui, if I was him, I'd be bloody walking out the door. Especially when you've recouped 80 million and you're not really spending too much on it. Like, yeah, what have you spent in terms of Wolves? Matt Doherty has joined from Atletico Madrid on a free transfer. Good signing, but even when he was at Tottenham, really didn't get his opportunity. Really didn't break into that team anyway, as he would have hoped. Traore, they've signed for Metz. I think he's a striker anyway for 9.5 million. Tom King from Nottingham on a free as well. So they're the only, at this moment in time, the free signs Wolves have done. And we'll get to Liverpool's lack of business in the window. But yeah, you do worry very much for Wolves in terms of them. Sorry, Tom, but chat, we'll go to 19th as well now. Wolves only have about 50 million to play with to avoid FFP. Russ, nice one for that, mate. That's 50 million gets you one player nowadays in the current market, but it's the predicament, not just Wolves, but a lot of clubs, especially in the top 10, top 20 of the Premier League, even the high-tier teams in the Championship. Now, when you come into the Premier League, you are anticipated to very much function financially as well and being capable to very much get into a high place in the Premier League or just even finish 16th or 17th in the Premier League. And it would be a massive success, in all honesty, for them. But yeah, big up there, Russ. Big up there, Daz. How are we, mate? I hope you're well, matey. Massive thank you. Big up there, Brian. How are we, chat? For the lads and ladies that have just tuned in a bit late, get your 18th, 19th, and 20th place. Obviously, chat, we'll be going through all of them anyway. But this current, as you can see, we are on 19th place now for the Premier League. And looking at my notes, as I said, sorry, Tom, I have got the Ev 17th, avoiding relegation yet again by the skin of their teeth anyway. You do look at, we've just been speaking about Wolves' financial predicament that they find themselves as a football club. But Everton, weird window yet again, in all honesty. You look at, obviously, there's so much emphasis thrust upon, obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin anyway. And he always, speaking to all my Ev mates, disappoints. He's only had, Calvert-Lewin, a good 6 months under Ancelotti. And he spent most of his career at Everton being either out of form or injured, in all honesty. 1 second here, chat. Make sure I get all the... but, yeah, with Everton signings, Get a load of this. Ashley Young from Aston Villa on a free transfer. How old's Ashley Young? About 70 now. Yeah, brings you a bit of experience, but at the end of the day, you need ready-made players in the Premier League. Danjuma on loan. I think it's got it from Villarreal, but have they loaned him from Tottenham? Or was he on loan from Villarreal at Tottenham, and then he just... Because I think they tried to sign him, Everton, didn't he? Tommy, if he's still in the chat. They tried to sign him very much in the last window just gone, so he more or less turned Everton down to go to Tottenham, and then he's come back and gone to Everton, the team that he did turn down a couple of months ago anyway. So, yeah, Everton's Everton, really. I think not much really to say about them. In terms of players that have gone from Everton, in terms of the squad, you look at, obviously, Nkungu, Niles Nkungu, I think he's from St. Etienne anyway. He's gone for an undisclosed fee. Ellis Sims gone to Coventry for undisclosed fee. I think that was in the region about 8.5 to 10 million money. Obviously, Coventry have just recently lost their big Scandinavian striker. I think he went to one of the Portuguese teams, whoever he went to anyway. He'll be a big miss, but I think Ellis Sims in the Championship will do a good enough job. Tom Davis released. I was surprised he would be at the football club for that long. Yeremina's left Everton as well. Townsend's left. Begovic has left. Yeah, not really a lot of quality leaving, but like a lot of teams, and as well when we speak about Liverpool, you need a whole squad in terms of being able to compete and just having a variety of options. A lot of these teams down there in the bottom, and even in mid-table that we'll get to, don't really have a lot of options. But for me, I've gone with the Ev at 17th. I think he will survive just about. Carl's gone with Wolves 17th. Big up there, Jazz. Big up, just everyone saying hello. They thought they had him signed, but he swerved them last minute for Spurs. He did, Brian. It was ridiculous, mate, wasn't it? Tom Davis released to the Wilds. Yeah, a bit of a mad one, that loud, isn't it? Big up there, Corvo. Good to see you in here, mate. Absolute legends. And yeah, just a bit of fun. You know me. But we'll go to the team that did finish 16th. Done extremely well. One of the only very few teams that didn't sack their manager. And I think they will finish 16th again this season. And by all accounts, a 16th place in the Premier League from back-to-back seasons, if they are to finish this season outside the relegation zone, will be tremendous. A lot of the money that they have spent last season. Let's have a little quick look at the players that they have brought in, or maybe not brought in anyway. They didn't really need to do a lot, considering the amount of activity, how active they were for Forest, in all honesty. One sec, just get to my notes. Forest. Yeah, so in terms of incomings for Forest, undisclosed fee for Antonio Elanga. Obviously, a very talented youngster anyway. I think he'd be an extremely good signing, a much improved version of Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard still probably one of the best youngsters in the Premier League. But yeah, Elanga, I think he'll be a tremendous signing for Forest. Chris Wood, you know what you're going to get. Premier League proven. Does lack a lot of quality, but puts himself about, really, in all honesty. Undisclosed fee. Obviously, he was off Forest. Did he join in January? And obviously, they activated the more or less the buy clause in his contract. Nami Noket, obviously Manchester United, he joined on a free, another youngster as well. And another free transfer, Ola Ayena from Torino on a free transfer. So very good. I think he's a defensive player anyway. Apologies if I'm wrong, but yeah, you've done all right business. But you know, with Forest, they've got such a big squad. I think they will be sound. They've got a lot of legs, a lot of rotation. People might say, yes, they've not got a lot of quality, but when you look back at it, I think they've got enough to finish 16th. And now, this is where the difficulty does creep in here, chat. Carl's got the bitters finishing 15th. That's a good season for them, Cal. Liz has got Forest in 17th. Panov's got Forest in 16th as well. So I'm not saying rationale are thinking of me, mate. Chat, I'm going to need your help with this because I've literally got my notes in front of me, and these next 3 positions are extremely, extremely difficult. Like, I think it's either between Palace. So where are they? So I'll put Palace there for now. Oh, so it's between Palace, Bournemouth, and then who was the other team? There we go. This one. So in terms of these 3, obviously Brentford, Bournemouth, and Palace, I anticipate them to finish in the middle, in terms of 15th, 14th, and 13th. The one concern for me in relation to Brentford, chat, is Ivan Toney. Obviously, he's going to be back in January. Hopefully, he doesn't put any more hackers on. He might be missing for another 6 months. Big up, Ivan. Got any tips, lad? But yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult. We'll quickly delve into Brentford's transfer activity this summer as well. I love Brentford. They absolutely slap the arse of us every single season. What was it? I was going through my notes. Brentford. So, in terms, as we mentioned before, Nathan Collins signing from Wolves for 23 million. Romeo Beckham from Inter Miami, bit of a mad one. Probably there for the eye candy or the social media accounts anyway. Tell you what, even if he was half as good as his dad, he'd be playing in the Premier League. I'll tell you that now, especially if Tom Davies can get a bloody career in the Premier League. Ethan Berkeley from Rochdale as well for an undisclosed fee. Mark Flecken from Freiburg, 11 million. Ji Soo Kim from Sengnam for an undisclosed fee. And another big signing from Freiburg for 20 million was Kevin Scheide. I think chat needs some help here. If it's the one that I'm thinking of from the Bundesliga from Freiburg, I think he's the attacker. Might be completely wrong, but it's the fellow that I'm thinking of. You'd anticipate, and that would more or less cover the departure of Toney. I'd say that, but it's a big shoes to fill. I don't think whoever was coming in for like a 6-month spell or a 2-3 year spell that comes into the club, I think it would have been an extremely difficult task to very much help and ease the burden of the loss of Toney. So you know what? I'll go. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'll go Brentford there. Brentford. And then I'll go. Yeah, Bournemouth. So for that chat, I'll go with that. So Palace in 14th, Bournemouth in 15th, and obviously Forest in 16th, and Brentford in 13th place. It's going to be extremely interesting. If you had to pick a couple of teams that I do love watching, especially Liverpool last season, were absolutely shocking. But you always are entertained when you watch a team like Brentford, team like Brighton as well. Really good. I love Thomas Frank as a manager. He's know me if you watch me, especially when I do my watch longs. He's an absolute tremendous manager. I think he's massively underrated in the whole of Europe. And if there's any Brentford fans watching or whatnot tuning in, I think he'll be, if he can keep hold of him, it'll be massive for Brentford. I anticipate next 2-3 years if he does continue to improve this Brentford side with not a big budget, but very much a budget that is placed. Because you look at that, like just looking at the fees now, 23 million for Nathan Collins, 2 signings from Freiburg in terms of Mark Flecken for 11 mil and Kevin Scheide for 20 mil. So you look at that. He spent 50 odd million. I think if you would have asked a Brentford fan, give it 5-10 years ago, you'd be spending what? North of like 40 million in the Premier League in a couple of years, or 50 million. You'd probably laugh your head off and go, "You're mad." But for me, that's it, chat, in terms of that. Kevin Shady. But Doug's gone with Brentford for 13th. Man U, not done a lot yet, Mark. We'll get to them anyway. But Burnley 14th, Doug. Big shouts. Well, obviously, I'll get to Bournemouth. Burnley very soon, mate. As you can tell, I haven't put them in yet. 15th for Bournemouth. A lot of Bournemouth shouts here, chat, for 15th. Everton 16th. Just pick any, mate. There we go, yeah. But you never know. You never know. Get your sick bags ready for Pep's post-match interview on Friday after they beat Company's Burnley 5-0, because Burnley try and play football. Some amazing, so good. They the best we played. Yeah, Brian. It's best mates, isn't he? I anticipate. I know it's probably a big shout. Either City, I don't know, either get Mikel Arteta, rob him from Arsenal in a couple of years post to replace Pep, or it's going to be a Vincent Kompany. I fully anticipate. So it's either going to be one or two of them managers. It's either Kompany or it's going to be Arteta for the new City manager post Pep Guardiola. If he is to leave the City in a couple of years, even though he signed his new deal anyway. 2012 Palace, Burnley are so brave. Brian and chat, at least it's not the Burnley that we were accustomed to under other managers. That obviously Sean Dyche, they were such a difficult team. Yes, it was effective for a very long time, but I think even if you asked Burnley fans, did they enjoy watching it? That football under Dyche? Not really, but it done the job, like to stay in the Premier League. But at the end of the day, that's the biggest priority for all these teams that we've mentioned, is to stay in the Premier League. But we'll go from, so we'll go 11th and 12th now. Speaking of Burnley, I'll go with that. Got Burnley finishing 12th, and I have got my notes. Burnley full. I'm missing someone. I think are we missing? Yeah, I think we're missing Fulham here, chat. Yeah, we're missing Fulham, but I would have put Fulham in 11th. Either that one being absolutely blind. Yeah, Fulham aren't there. So we'll miss out Fulham. So they're not on the graphs. So apologies about that, chat. But in Fulham, I would have had 11th. From 8th to 10th, I've gone. Get a load of this, chat. Come in the triggered Spurs fans. So I've gone Spurs in 10th. Then I've gone West Ham. Probably a bit mad. We'll have the London lot turning in now. So I've got West Ham finishing above Spurs. Big up. And then Brighton, I've got finishing there. Chat, let us know your thoughts on that. I've gone with, obviously, Fulham in 11th. The loss of Mitrovic, like he's refusing to play for the football club, innit? I think they've only just recently had a bid from one of the Qatar clubs for Willian as well. But we'll quickly get to Burnley, Fulham's transfer activity. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season for Fulham, but apologies there, Chas. Was he notes? So the loss of Mitrovic and the boys. So in terms of the two players that they brought in, as we spoke about before, Raul Jimenez replacing more or less Mitrovic, but I don't think he'll do a better job than him. And then Calvin Bassey, £18.2 million bid, a transfer from Ajax. I watched Bassey and at Ajax on a couple of occasions last year. in the Eredivisie. And for me, and even when we played him in the Champions League, last couple of years, he's not really. He looked very shaky, extremely shaky at the back. Anyway, will he do the job? Probably, but I don't think he was exactly what Fulham really need. Obviously, Tim Ream as well, one of the best centre halves in the Premier League. Well, is it Reed or Ream? The American centre half. Anyway, that plays for him. One of the best centre halves last year, in all honesty. But yeah, Brian, I'd agree, mate. He is finished. That's why I said he wouldn't very much capitalise on the big absence and the big hole. Chat, would you have Fulham a bit lower? Apologies, I can't get them on the graph because I completely missed them out. But would you have Fulham a bit lower down? Especially if I don't anticipate Paulinho to leave Fulham now. But in terms of where I anticipate them to finish, is more or less where they finished last season anyway, in terms of they finished 10th last year. I think they'll finish 11th. Spurs 8, and you're probably like, Spurs 8? Probably yes, only due to the fact of Harry Kane. If he leaves Tottenham Football Club, they are finished. They are absolutely finished. Regardless of even if they got 100 odd million as well, chat, I still think they'd extremely struggle. Panov's gone with Spurs in 8th. Quite generous there, Panov, but chat, where you putting Spurs, but as I said, Newcastle 6 and 7 for you. Big up there, Peter. Big up, matey. Spurs to be the first club to sack their boss. It's going to be interesting from a Spurs perspective. I think if you asked any Spurs fans, the expectations going into this year, probably not high up in their agenda. I don't think any rivals anticipate it, but I think that's where you could possibly say that they are underdogs, not to win the league or anything like that, but more or less the expectation level for Tottenham is currently on the floor as it currently stands. But if the big thing for Tottenham is if they lose Kane, is reinvesting that money wisely. You look at when they lost Harry Kane, Gareth Bale all those years ago. I think they brought in Lamela and a load of decent-ish players. But a player of that quality, if Kane does leave, you need to replace it with quality as well. And Harry Kane has been for a very long time one of Europe's best strikers by a bloody country mile anyway. Guarantees you goals. So I think we'll go with that. We'll go with, I'll quickly skip their chat. So champions, Manchester City. In terms of their incomings, I still think City are the team to beat anyway. If anyone finishes above City, they win the league for me. You look at Josko Gvardiol, £77.6 million deal. Very talented centre half, a player that I would have liked Liverpool to have signed, but we were skint apparently. Kovacic, 30 million, tremendous. I know everyone goes, oh, he's at the back end of his career, but in a Pep Guardiola system, they've just lost Gundogan as well, City, but I think it's more or less like for like in quality. And judging from a couple of highlights I've seen from Kovacic in a City shirt already, he's taken to it like a duck to water, really. He hasn't looked out of place, as you would anticipate with his qualities as well. Serial Champions League winner, as we know. Yangel Herrera from Girona for an undisclosed fee. Spike Brits as well from AFC Wimbledon, a very young, talented player as well. You're going to the academy. But chat, it's going to be interesting for City fans and City in general. The loss of Mahrez, 30 million. James Trafford, obviously a young lad, went to Burnley for 19 million. Gundogan, as I've already alluded to, he's left for Barcelona on a free. Am I completely missing someone else as well? There's a load of youngsters that have been released as well, 100%. So, but they're probably the only couple of the big names. And the potential, there's been a lot of talk of Bernardo Silva leaving, but I don't think that'll happen. I think, obviously, Kyle Walker potentially leaving as well. But I think it come out today that well, it come out a couple of days ago that Pep had a meal with him, more or less sat him down and said, I don't want you to leave. And by all accounts, it was very much Kyle Walker's happily accepted a new contract by the looks of it. So, yeah, City, the 100 City fans you mean, there's a load of sound City fans out there. I think a lot of the nonsense that's on social media, there's a lot of great City fans out there. The proper main road days of Man City, those proper fans. But yeah, I can't see anyone finishing above them. Arsenal, sorry, Duss, if you're still in, mate. Any Arsenal fans? Finishing second for me. I think the signings of Rice, signings of Havertz, signings of Timber as well, excellent additions for Arsenal. It's exactly what they've needed. Probably needed that a bit more last year. I love Declan Rice. You know me, chat. Got a load of hammers, mates. Russ and Bale and all the lads anyway. Anton and the lads from Iron United. So it's going to be a big season for them in terms of, the loss, as we spoke about West Ham before, the losses for them as well. But in terms of Arsenal, I think they'll finish second. Don't want to dwell too much on it, chat. Just making sure that I've missed any one of the new signings as it stands. But in terms of incomings for Arsenal, obviously the loss of Granit Xhaka, the loss of a couple of load of youngsters anyway, but mainly Granit Xhaka for 21.4 million. Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, but we spent a lot of money, Arsenal. The expectation levels now will have to rise 100%. So, but dealings or of lack of them out so far. Yeah, Peter, we're all here, mate, in terms of Liverpool's perspective and even some other clubs as well. The lack of transfer activity from a lot of clubs that we've mentioned this evening. That's PPP. To go where as well. Champions League football could cost Newcastle this season. So many games. Yeah, we'll get to that, Carl, as well. You're not alone there, mate. 100%. As Panov saying there, mate. We're all singing from the same hymn sheet, mate. But we'll go to. I've gone Arsenal second, chat. Oh, I'm sighing because it's either that I'm gonna have egg on my face this season because I was here this time last year going, Liverpool, we'll be back. We'll be back. I want to be positive, but I'm not going to be too biased. I think I'm going to change this live in here. Actually, yeah, sorry, Dave. Wasn't Europa League. I'm gonna have Liverpool finishing third. You know what I think about us because we've had plenty of shows this season. You know what? No, I'm not putting us in Champions League. You can get stuffed because defensively we are an absolute shambles. Still, like everyone goes, being a bit too over dramatic in terms of pre-season and all that. But if Liverpool actually get some injuries at the back, we are finished. And even in midfield, if McAllister gets injured, Szoboszlai gets injured, or a couple of other players in midfield get injured, we are kaput. Like, we are done. We are done out here. But in terms of Champions City, once do I do it? I can't. Yeah. That's me, big one, chat. You're probably like going, what? I'm hoping, well, I'm not hoping, but I'd love nothing more as a neutral to see champion. No, I'm going to go with what I had. I'm going to go with Liverpool there. Yeah, didn't have that. I'm going to go Man City first, Arsenal second, Liverpool third. Villa, yes, you're seeing that right. I 100% anticipate them to build off what has already been a tremendous finish to their last year. Players incoming this transfer window for Aston Villa. Pau Torres, for Villarreal, 33 million, tremendous, one of the best centre-halves, left-footed centre-halves in the whole of Europe, especially at his age anyway. Moussa Diaby for Bayer Leverkusen, I think it was in a fee in around 35 to 40 million pounds. Tremendous French winger, exactly what they've needed. Yuri Tillemans, free transfer. Rico Richards from West Brom as well, a young player. Still just 3 weeks to go in a transfer window. I anticipate a lot of business still to be concluded. But I'm going to go with Villa. You know what? It's a big shout, but you'd always have one big mad prediction. And there probably is a lot of people going, oh, Liverpool finishing third. But I think for Villa, I'd love it for the Prem. I'd love a team. Similar when we've seen Newcastle last year finishing in the top four. It was tremendous. It's actually good to see teams break in there. Even Leicester a couple of years ago. Newcastle last year. Villa this year. Don't anticipate them. It'd be mad. I've got a sneak feeling they'll either finish in fourth or fifth for me this season. And I've gone with fourth. Bit mad, I know. Europa League, in terms of finishing just outside the top four, it could have been Villa or Man United for me. I think Villa, Manchester United, sorry. In terms of their incomings, David De Gea gone out of the football club. Probably for a lot of fans, Manchester United fans would have liked to have seen him gone a bit more sooner, in all honesty, really. And then we've got two more teams left anyway. Let's get into the incomings from Manchester United. Apologies there on my notes chat. Mainly want to have a little look at when I was looking at it before. They've got a couple of outgoings, Manchester United. Bear with 1 second there, chat. Man United. Obviously, Mason Mount, as we spoke about before, Ten Hag looks like he's playing him in the 6 role in a 4-2-3-1, but he's very capable of playing anywhere across the right wing or in midfield anyway. Onana, 47.2 million. Great signing for Manchester United. He's exactly what Ten Hag wants. You look at De Gea with the ball at his feet, terrible. Onana, next level. One of the best goalkeepers with the ball at his feet. We've seen that at Inter Milan last season. Even statistically, his save percentage in the Champions League was phenomenal. Obviously, ex-Ajax goalkeeper as well. I think he's worked with Ten Hag in the past. I think he fell out as well. But I think Onana, tremendous, good sign for them. Rasmus Højlund, apologies for any Scandinavians watching, I've completely butchered that. But the big signing from Atalanta, £72 million. I know a lot of people do say, what is it? Did he get 9 goals last season in the Italian league? But he's coming from a team in Italy that they do finish 4th and 5th on a couple of occasions. They had a couple of outings in the Champions League, Atalanta, but you think about Atalanta's business over the last 5-10 year period, how good they function as a football club in terms of buying their players, selling them on for a big premium as well. Look at Papu Gomez as well. I think is he at Sevilla now? Or obviously a couple of those big players for Atalanta have left in last couple of years. But chat, let us know your thoughts. Big up there, Paul. I think City won't win the league. I'd go Arsenal, just pipping them. It's the thing, Paul, isn't it? And there's probably people tuning in going, why are Villa in the top 4? But it was so close. And my heart's going Liverpool finishing third. But before, think with me head, as I don't do a lot of time, as you know, Chas. I think Liverpool still finish outside the top 4 at this current moment in time prior to recording. Even if we did get Lavia, I think Liverpool are very fragile from an injury point of view. But the one thing I put Liverpool in the top 3 chat is goals. We're speaking about Brentford, their lack of goals if Tony's not there. Looking at Wolves as well, hence why I've got them in the relegation zone. Certain teams, even Everton, don't score a lot of goals. So it's going to be extremely difficult. The Europa League. So in terms of first, so we've got Villa 4th, United 5th, Chelsea finishing 6th. And then Newcastle finishing. Sorry there, Corvo. Any Geordies watching as well? I'd love it for the league if Newcastle, for another consecutive year, broke into the top four, because it just winds all the top dogs in the Premier League. The one, and a lot of question marks when I've been watching everyone's predictions as well this season, is injuries with Liverpool are going to be a massive factor, because Liverpool's squad is extremely frail, very small. Injuries with Newcastle, very small squad. You look at, I'm just going to quickly get my notes up as well in terms of their incomings. Newcastle United, obviously Tonali, as we know, we've played him a couple of times in the past in the Champions League. Tremendous player. He's exactly what Newcastle need. He's that anchor, it's that number 6. He'll complement Bruno Guimaraes extremely well. But in terms of when you look back at Newcastle's teams, to make sure that I haven't missed out anyone from Newcastle. Maybe 1 second here, apologies. Newcastle United. So yeah, Harvey Barnes, plus the apologies there, chat. Yeah, Harvey Barnes, tremendous signing. It's a lot of money, 39 million, Harvey Barnes from Leicester. But I think he's a tremendous talent. One that I'd say he's been held back at Leicester. I think he's at a club now like Newcastle United, Champions League football. It's going to be the pinnacle of his career anyway, Harvey Barnes. So even though he was a Leicester lad, fair enough. If you haven't seen Harvey Barnes' going away message, that was a proper going away message anyway. In terms of outgoings, Newcastle, Chris Woods, Nottingham Forest won't be a big miss for them. Matty Longstaff released, Kieran Clark released, James Lewis to Watford on loan, Cardallo to Leeds at undisclosed fee. Could be a good move for Leeds, in all honesty. Decentish goalkeeper. Kieran Clark, Max Thompson to Nottingham, to Northampton as well. But yeah, I think Newcastle will struggle, chat. So, and apologies there, chat. I think I am missing. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, the one team we are missing, but we'll go from bottom to top, chat. In terms of number 20th, I've gone with Sheffield. Luton, I think they'll finish 19th. Wolves in 18th place, sorry, chat. Everton in 17th. Forest in 16th. Bournemouth in 15th. Palace in 14th. Brentford in 13th. But I would have Fulham there, chat. Actually, no, I would have Fulham in 13th. Chat, apologies, not on the graph. I missed it out there. Brentford. And then I've got Burnley finishing in 11th. I've got Brentford finishing in 12th. I think the loss of Tony for Brentford will be massive for 6 months. And then from 11th, then we go into 10th. I've gone with Tottenham. Make sure that's right. Yep, Spurs finishing 10th for me. Actually put them, yeah. There we go. Yeah, Tottenham in 10th. And then, actually, no, put them there. Yeah, West Ham in 9th, and then Brighton in 8th. So it'll be an interesting season for Brighton. I know we didn't speak too much about the chat, but if you do lose Caicedo, have a quick look in terms of their business notes. He's done a couple of decent-ish signings. You look at James Milner coming into the football club. That European pedigree in terms of what he will offer to that squad. Mohamed Dahoud as well. German youngster. Didn't really hit the ground running for Borussia Dortmund as well, in all honesty. But still a very good signing. Bert Verbruggen from Anderlecht, completely butchered that, but obviously the Belgium goalkeeper, very highly rated. Keep an eye on this goalkeeper, chat. He's probably one to put on your fantasy football team as well. I'm not too sure how much he'll be, but good talent. Dahoud, as I mentioned, Igor Gilia from Fiorentina, undisclosed. João Pedro, I think it was for a fee in the region of 30 million from Watford. Good talent, very young, very raw. Igor Gilia from Fiorentina for 14.5 million. As I mentioned, James Milner, James Milner, and Jacob Slater as well from Preston for undisclosed fee as well. So, in terms of outgoings, Robert Sanchez for Brighton for 25 million to Chelsea. Maka to Liverpool for 35 million. Any other? Not really a lot of big players going out there, but the big one would be Caicedo. I think if they did lose him, I think they would struggle, like any team, losing players of that ilk. McAllister, I wouldn't say it's like for Dahoud, but I'll tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me if Dahoud just fits into that Brighton system with a lot of ease, in all honesty. But chat, so obviously 8th for me, 8th, 9th and 10th. So going 8th Brighton, 9th obviously West Ham and 10th for Tottenham. Conference League, gone with Newcastle. I think they'll struggle with their depth. And the 2 Europa League spots would be for Manchester United and Chelsea. Champions City, Arsenal 2nd, Liverpool 3rd, only if Liverpool keep a lot of players fit. But if Liverpool did have injuries this year, and it would be more or less a season like we've seen last year, I think we will struggle, and it probably would be Manchester United replacing Liverpool. But for me, I'm going to go Liverpool 3rd, and then Villa, me dark horse of the league. They're one of the surprises. I know everyone has a little surprise in there, but I think if Villa are to continue that upward trajectory that we did see since Unai Emery's come in, we've had a look at their signings. I think they'll do extremely well this season. But chat, if you're massively disgruntled by where they've put your team, I do apologise. It's only a bit of fun anyway. But let us know in your comments if you are watching on the live show anyway. Let us know in relation to that, where you do see your team finishing, or Liverpool or whatnot. Let's get to everyone's comments as well. England have 5 spots in next year's Champions League after new rules have been taken into effect. Matthias, as of record, mate, I think that did get scrapped, that Matthias, for next season anyway. So, yeah, the only way England would have 5 Champions League teams next year is either a Europa League team won the Champions League and finished outside the top 4, and obviously of 4 teams that finished, say, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Villa, for example, and then say if whoever was in, say if Liverpool's finished outside the top 4, and then we won Europa League, and say United and Chelsea got in the top 4 with Arsenal and Man City. But yeah, I think that rule change has very much been scrapped, mate. Villa and Chelsea better than United, Mark. It's going to be an exciting season, mate. Mount is playing deeper than Bruno. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate, from a tactical sense. Unai Emery is really growing on me. He could be a good choice to take over from Klopp if we can't get Xabi Alonso. Big shout there, Carl. I do love Unai Emery. I think if you ask Arsenal fans, for me, I think he left Arsenal too early. I think the fans were a bit too harsh on Unai Emery. The language barrier was a big issue, like it is for anyone. If you went to a new country and you didn't 100% know the language, but he's learned extremely quick and he's picked up really well. But Panov's gone with 1st City, no doubt. 2nd Liverpool, 3rd Arsenal, 4th the Manx, Man United, 5th for Villa, and 6th for Chelsea. Chelsea are one of the weirdest ones this season, chat. I know I've got them finishing Europa League spots, but if everything falls into place for Chelsea for this new upcoming season, I think they could have a really good season. But similar as with teams we mentioned tonight, goals. Chelsea need a recognised out and out, and I mean a proper goal scorer, like the days of having Didier Drogba, like getting goals in big games for them as well. Same Panov, top 4 as me, but Brian agreeing what Panov said there. Odds Man City, what are the odds on Man City conceding less than 20 goals this season? Count me in on that bet as well, Matthias. Good little shout that, mate. City are just so good, and hence why I've got them top dogs. I think they will run away with the league. I think City have always got that in them. I know they finished, they won the league 5 points clear, but I'd say if the Premier League is a lot more competitive, but I don't think a lot of the teams round City this year will be as good as I mentioned, with Newcastle, with Tottenham if they lose Kane, Chelsea, new year under Pochettino, new manager. I can understand a lot of people. I've seen a couple of predictions where people have had Man United quite high up. I know I've got them in Europa League, and this is, I know, I'm a Liverpool channel, but when I was just looking at their squad, I still think even if Haaland does do well and gets, say, 20 goals in the Premier League, you need a bigger season out of Anthony. You need a bigger season out of Sancho. So the players are there for United, but it seems every single season over the last couple of years, you just haven't really hit the ground running. Varane, Martinez, if both of them stay fit. Martinez, as much as Jamie Carragher slagged him off since he come into the Premier League, and he's taken it back. He knows himself. He's done plenty of interviews now, Carragher, saying he was proven wrong, and that's a good thing for a United fan. But he is one of the best centre-halves in the Prem, Martinez. His attitude, yeah, but I think every good centre-half has got a good positive attitude, or he's got that bit nasty streak in them anyway. I think to be a professional footballer, you need a bit of attitude, and you need a bit of bite, you need a bit of arrogance, a lot of arrogance, really. So, yeah, so that was good. It was good chat. It was good. I'm excited. It's very close to the Premier League season. I'm looking forward to just seeing football back. Chat. I know we're a Liverpool channel, but we've got a lot of good mates that are rivals that do pop in, and Everton. Our good mate Russ and Heller as well, and a lot of other people. Corvo, Newcastle fan as well. So Villa top 4. What about Newcastle? Russ? They were my dark horses, Russ, and I've been saying this since the back end of last season. I've been extremely impressed with Aston Villa. I think if they, with their new signings, Villa, I think they'll, and especially if they can keep Ollie Watkins firing and fit, I think if Villa can get, before the window does shut in the next 3 weeks, if Villa can get maybe 1 or 2 more big signings, I think they'll be sound for top 4. They'll get in top 4 if they make a couple of 1 or 2 more additions as well. Top 5 will get Champions League football, remember? No, Carl. Well, I think they've more or less... Well, apologies and wrong, chap, but I don't think it is now, mate. I think that rule change has very much been scrapped. But big up there, Carl. Got to go. Catch you all soon, mate. I'll catch you very soon, matey. Massive thank you for tuning in. F Newcastle, call it what it is. Relegate them. Big up there, Brian. Bloody hell, lad. 7th Newcastle for me as well. Big up there, Panov. Put who in your fancy football team? Yes, Brian, we will be having an episode coming out this week. I think I might do that tomorrow. We'll all pick our fancy football and we'll get the league started anyway. There's no place for a 48-year-old midfielder in a Klopp team. Probably James Milner. You never know. Fitter than most players and injury-free as well. True there, Mark. True. And Kunku is a massive loss as well. Obviously for Chelsea. I think he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, isn't he? But tremendous talent. Big up there, Zuki. And I completely forgot, chat. But, chat, get your top goal scorer in. This is going to be extremely quick, as we know. Top goal scorer. It's going to be the same as last year. Haaland, probably even going to get more goals for me. So I'll go with Erling Haaland, top goal scorer. Top assister in the Premier League as well. Chat, get your assists in. I'm going to go with Mohamed Salah. I think De Bruyne's injured currently as it stands for City. I know the injuries did play a massive part for Kevin De Bruyne last season. Obviously, the back end of the year, helping them win the Champions League. But I think Salah's game, I wouldn't say it's completely adapted and changed, but I think the side that we haven't always seen from Salah, even though he's always provided a lot of assists for Liverpool, but I think Salah will be more of a provider for Liverpool this season. I anticipate Nunez, Jota to get Lucho Diaz to get a bit more goals as well. I think we will see Salah as the top assister for me this season. Signing of the summer. I'm going to go, as I mentioned, with Villa. I'm going to go with the Villa thing. I'm going to go with Pau Torres. I think if no one's seen a lot of this young lad, Well, I know he's like 24, 25, but he's still young in terms of defensive age. And they go sign of the summer for me will be Pau Torres. I think if he can continue to adapt and really get into it in the Premier League, obviously he's so good technically with the ball at his feet as well and his understanding. So I'm going to go Pau Torres, bit of a mad one, really out there, chat. I think a lot of people might mention Nkunku going to Chelsea and other players, but I'm going to go Pau Torres, really, for me. Salah's assist, hopefully, to Nunez, so Nunez gets the golden boot. Yeah, can't see it. Longer Brian as well. Up to 16 weeks out for Nkunku. Could be December. Is it bright? Bloody hell, that's a big miss then. So yeah, as Matthias has said, Haaland, probably the easiest prediction that we will do this season. But chat, as I said, it's been a great. I'll just quickly recap on my top 20 anyway. So we've got Sheffield in 20th, Luton in 19th, Wolves in 18th, Everton in 17th, Forest in 16th, Bournemouth in 15th. Was it? Oh no, yeah. Bournemouth in 15th, Palace in 14th, Brentford in 13th. Would be Fulham in 13th. Then I go Brentford in 12th, Burnley in 11th. Then I go Tottenham in 10th, West Ham in 9th, Brighton in 8th, Newcastle in 7th as well. Chelsea in 6th, United in 5th, Villa 4th. Yes, my surprise of the season. I really think they'll do really good. Flip of the coin, really, with Liverpool. I'd like to just go and watch it. I said we'd win the league last season. I think a lot of people did. And then last year happened. But I think Liverpool will score a lot of goals. I think that's the one main thing. It'd be a crazy season. I think we will end up seeing like 5-4 score lines, like 3-2s, a lot of them. So I'm going Liverpool third. Arsenal second, but City being City. Like, there's no... If anyone finishes above City, of course, they will win the league for me. But I don't see anyone finishing above City this new coming season. But chat... the score predictions, Mark, I'm not doing, but we'll do a Premier League predictor. So, yous can do the predictions. So when we're doing watch-alongs, Mark and chat, when we're doing watch-alongs and that, yous can do the scoreline predictions. But as of me, for this coming season, I've banned myself from predicting on Liverpool games. Because every single time I said, Liverpool will win a game of football, we got absolutely filled in by the likes of Brentford and everyone last season. So, yeah. I was cursing everyone. But just put you from the phone to the TV, Jack. Must say, you really suit the glasses. Just got the new ones myself. Not as nice as yours, though. Nice one, Paul. I'm on the big screen. All right, lad. But appreciate it, mate. Obviously, you will be wearing these a lot more throughout the season because, obviously, Joe, if you work with a lot of screens and you got lights in the background and all that. And when strain on your eyes, it's blue light glasses that I wear here now anyway. So, yeah, just stopping from like the glare of the screen as well. Because this week, it looked like I went with like 10 rounds of Mike Tyson because I had a massive sty in my eye and it was horrible to look at. It wasn't the best anyway. But big up there, chat. Zuki, hope you're well, matey, and hope you're looking after yourself. And chat, a massive thank you for tuning in. We will be live tomorrow for another. We might have a live late show tonight. If you get a notification in around midnight, it's me and Kev. We'll have a little gander about Lavia. Just waiting on Kev's to get back. He's out with the minute. But we'll have a little gander, a little chat about Liverpool's transfers and that. But if not, we'll be live tomorrow at 7:45 p.m. For another episode chat. But massive thank you, everyone. And who's excited for the new season? Hopefully Liverpool get their act together in the window. Come on.